Hello Virgo friends, I'm Annie Botticelli and welcome to my Virgo August 2022 Astrology Must Knows Horoscope Forecast. Definitely go to anniehelpsyou.com. That's the interface for all the free goodies I make for you each month. And now I have a very exciting thing to announce. I've had a lot of requests for additional content from me in the form of an exclusive member site. So you can go to anniebastrology.com and you can check out all of the excitement there, including information for going deeper into your natal chart for DIY people, self-study. You can look at my new current and upcoming transit help support in there. And all of this, of course, is in addition to what I already do, but you can check that out at anniebastrology.com. So this report now is for you if Virgo is your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, or any other placement of Virgo that you're watching for. What we're going to talk about is going to be part of your astrological picture. And if you are a very late degree Virgo placement, so we'll say September 13th through the rest of the sign, or 23 degrees through the rest of the sign, then I also recommend that you listen to my Libra report, because you late degree cuspy people will get benefits from both the Virgo and Libra report. So what's going on in August 2022? Let's go over our must-know list. We'll just take it piece by piece here. The first big must-know is that although we are in the last month of the breather between eclipse seasons, we are going to have a little bit of activation of the eclipse stories, because the planet Uranus and Mars and the transiting North Node and opposing South Node are all going to be activated there at once for especially the early part of August. And so some themes that have been coming up for the Taurus Scorpio eclipse cycle might get more active now, even though we're out of the season. But that general kind of heaviness of eclipse season that we've come to know very well if you've been tracking it here with me, we don't have that yet, and we do get back into that in September. So it is a big must know. One of the biggest must-knows is that as of this month, we are in the last open period free from personal planet retrograde. So personal planets are Mercury, Venus, and Mars. Those planets can look like they're going retrograde, meaning going backwards in the sky from our perspective. And when they do, they bring us more into an inward and backward place in our lives rather than forward and outward. And so we are not in that period of time just yet. So from June 19th through August 21st, we have these glorious open stars where we're on the beach with the tide going out, and the message in the bottle or the boat we want to cast out to sea to go far and wide is fully available for aligning with the natural rhythms of the universe. As we move towards the end of August, we're starting to be in that position of sitting on the beach, repairing the boat or preparing the boat, and letting the tide bring to us the things that we need, rather than actively pushing out and trying to force something out into the open sea. Okay, so we'll talk more about the kinds of things that are important to do now in August compared to what are good to do in September on later. But just kind of know in general, anything that requires a lot of oomph, a lot of ambition, a lot of energy, a lot of follow through, yours or other people's. If you're relying on other people's energy to do projects, people are going to start getting lazy and less responsible when Mars gets into retrograde in September. So, you want to use this window to activate your big moves, your big decisions, your big purchases, your big projects. Anything that requires that energy and ambition is going to have more oomph at this time. So the next big must know is that we've got a lot of Leo planets still. Okay, so this started in July. This is getting stronger now. And what this always means is that is the harbinger of birthday time, right? So when the Leo planets crowd in the sky, they crowd into your 12th house and they start making you think even more, and sometimes have more fears and anxiety, because that 12th house is an emotion house. It's like the attic of our being, where things are going on up there, rustling up there in the night. And, while we could find our grandparents', gold plate that's worth $1 million, or we could find our deepest fear up there in the attic, with the vermin and other things that are going on up there. That is the area that the sun and other planets are bringing this bright light to. So it's very common that in the weeks before your birthday, so you all who are August born, you will be feeling this at this time if it's going to come up for you. This kind of rumping and bumping in the attic. Now, if you are a September-born Virgo, you'll start feeling this in August, but it will get stronger the closer it gets to your actual birthday. And if you're watching for another placement besides your sun sign, this also is true for the period of time before the sun crosses over whatever Virgo placement you have, okay? As long as it's before that placement, then it's lighting up this 12th house. And, you know, it's time to face your fears, basically, and it's time to do some inner work and time to locate some of the things that are keeping you anxious and to de-stress and to get some good systems in place where you stop indulging in your addiction to thinking and worrying, because every human has some level of this. But Virgos are notorious for thinking about all the details and not always the good details, like the hypotheticals of what could happen and making yourself crazy. And so we know that the vast majority of the things we worry about never actually happen. And so, but your telomeres don't know that. If you don't know what a telomere is, you definitely are missing the boat as far as health, because the future is all going to be about, in medicine, is going to be about healing and supporting telomeres. So you can look up telomeres, but I will tell you now, they are basically the things at the end of our DNA strands that protect us to have longevity, and they diminish with stress and worry, and they will add to the problems that we have physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So this might be a time to start to educate yourself about the genetics behind our longevity and peace and happiness, because this 12th house lends itself to those types of studies. So stress and worry mess with your telomeres and they shorten them. So just kind of remember that, you know, if someone is aggravating you, what I tend to say is, stop, you're shortening my telomeres. We're going to, you know, stop this now. But you might be your own worst enemy in this case. And so, you know, this could be a time where you can actually take some action through meditation, through anything that balances the hemispheres of your brain. You can look that up, you know, how you balance those, and kind of develop your corpus callosum. That's the matter that connects the two sides. Anything that you can do that strengthens those things will help you to distribute that thinking energy into something more productive. Okay, so another tip that you can use if you find you're overthinking is just put your hand on your head and breathe, because this helps you to step out of fight or flight and get back into your body and also access creative solutions. Okay, so the next big must know is that although those Leo energies can cause some ruckuses because of where they're moving, the energies themselves can be highly, highly creative, and you could be very resourceful. And by focusing on using your subconscious mind, you could come up with solutions to your problems, other people's problems, world problems. Your creative genius can be activated, and your artistic genius can be activated, and your capacity to have fun and step into doing more of things that you really enjoy is very much activated at this time. So Leo energy is the energy of children or childlike wonder, fun. I call it bucket list energy, you know, things you've always wanted to do, hobbies, things that bring you pleasure. All of that is activated at this time. So hopefully that will bring in lots of fun for you and creative expression. Okay, so if it is going to be your birthday, you definitely want to make your birthday wishes. You can search for Annie Making Wishes Come True, and you'll find my video on how you can maximize your birthday wishes. But happy birthday to you, early degree Virgos, and coming soon for the rest of you. All right, so let's see what else we want to talk about. Okay, so let's talk about the movements through Virgo. So this time of year, as the personal planets move through Virgo, is a time for regeneration, rebirth, you know, kind of revamping. And as you have the planets move through the 12th house, it kind of gives you close-up reminders of the things you don't want, so that you can use your birthday wishes. Or if you're watching for a sign or a placement other than your sun, you can call them intentions, because when the sun crosses over your Virgo placement, it's a good time to also set intentions. So you can set your wishes or set your intentions for the things you do want by having more clarity about the things you don't want from the process of the planets moving through your 12th house. So then as everything starts moving into the first house, it's about your physical body, it's about your recognition, it's about, how people see you and how you're presenting yourself and your image and all of that kind of thing. And this can also have to do with, figuring out more levels of your identity, what you identify as. Maybe you're an artist, but now you want to go back to school and be a doctor, or maybe you're an engineer and you decided you want to be a farmer. How you see yourself and what you're putting out in the world. If there's a drastic difference between those things, this might be a time where you get more clarity on how to align your efforts with how you really see yourself and want to be seen. There's also this beautiful new moon in Virgo. So whenever we have a new moon in our sign, it's a very powerful time. The universe is very receptive to our wishes at that time as well. And so all of the Virgos will be getting goodies from this, but those of you next to close to 4 degrees, so that's basically August born, all of you August born, and the closer to 4 degrees, so like around the 27th or so, the more of a kiss you'll get from this new moon. And the new moon is in the days around August 27th. Okay, so you'll be feeling that the days before, the days after the 27th. So that's towards the end of the month. Okay, so the next big must know is that we do have more salty aspects this month compared to sweet ones. That's an annoying trend that started in July. Prior to that, we were having more sweet ones than salty ones, but we're kind of out of the ratio now. So that means you're going to be flowing along and then a road bump, flowing along and then a road bump. And the month will just be kind of like that. But if you know that going into it, then as they're coming up, you can say, well, Annie said those road bumps will be here. And now you can deal with them more gracefully instead of saying, what the heck is going on here? Now you know. But there are at least 10 sweet connections with the planets that I'm looking at. And that's very exciting. So if you want a write-up of all of the sweet and salty aspects, what they are, what the dates are, what you can expect from them delivered into your inbox 1 month early, go to anniehelpsyou.com, sign up for my free email newsletter. I don't send out very many newsletters, and they're all content rich that have, links to things that mostly I've created. Some of my team members have also given some beautiful contributions to equip you to work with the energies of each time. And when you do that, you'll get the full list of sweet and salty dates, but we will just go over a few. Okay, so we talked about the new moon, and now we're going to talk about Mercury in Virgo making a trine to Pluto in Capricorn. And the reason why this is of extra significance is not only because it's a beautiful aspect, this is on August 22nd, but there's also because Mercury is in your sign. So this means extra kisses for you. Okay, so we'll say the days around August 18th through August 26th, and the closer to the 22nd, the more intense they are. Mercury, news, communication, research, writing, information, detail-oriented, follow-through, discipline, combining in a beautiful way with power, support, material manifestations. So beautiful earthly blessings and material blessings can come to everyone in the zodiac, but the earth signs get extra special kisses, and all the Virgos will get extra special kisses, and the closer you are to 26 degrees, the more you'll even get a bigger kiss from this. So 21 degrees to the rest of the sign, the closer to 26 degrees, the more you get the kiss. So this is going to correspond with September 11th through the rest of the sign, and the closer to around September 16th, the more of a kiss from this aspect. All right, so the last subject that we're going to talk about has to do with Mars retrograde. This is a very important transit because you're going to notice it, and we are going to dive deep into the energies of Mars retrograde, what it's important to do while it's still direct in August, what you can table and know will be better to do, September and on. I'll give you the timeline of the shadow periods, the retrograde, and all of that in the next segment. But first, I just want to say that Mars is going to be retrograde from 25 degrees to 8 degrees in Gemini. So besides all of the tendencies of Mars retrograde things that can come up, which we'll talk about later, this is going to specifically for Virgo activate your work sector, work, career, your ambitions, your recognition, your passion projects that may or may not get you money, if you're someone who doesn't need to work for money or is retired, your relationship with father or father figures, anything having to do with your place out in the world, bosses, your male side, we all, we both have our yin yang, we all have our yin yang energies, the female energies, the male energies within us, your relationship with taking action, your relationship with having initiative, and, all of those sort of Mars types of things and 10th house sorts of things are going to be activated for an extended period of time from September into even beyond March of 2023. So this might be a deep dive into preparing you for future joy in your work, previous work things coming in or projects coming in for you to work on, things for you to work out with your relationships there, and just deep pondering and soul searching on these topics. Okay, so let's do the deep dive now into what to do during the retrograde, what is better to do during the direct here in August, so you can align your actions with the natural rhythms of the universe. Okay, so I'm recording this for you to help you better understand the Mars retrograde energies, to look at the dates that this full cycle will be relevant for, and to talk about the types of activities we want to align when Mars is direct versus when Mars is retrograde, and give you timelines for that so that you have the notice now that you can try to align your actions with being in sync with Mars. That's what I try to focus on, is to help you align with the natural rhythms of the universe, because when we go with the rhythms, it's much easier and much more enjoyable than if we try to push against them. So the more you know about how the rhythms work, the more you can align naturally with them. Okay, so Mars retrograde, Mars goes retrograde every 2.2 or so years, just to give you a little context. If you think back to around 2 years and 2 months ago, we were in a Mars retrograde cycle. And you can actually look up a Mars retrograde calendar of the past online and look at the times when Mars was in retrograde, just for your research, to try to understand the types of energies that you experienced. And I always highly recommend writing in a journal the types of things that come up, especially as I'm helping you get educated on what Mars represents. If you pay attention to the kind of things that come up in Mars retrograde in general and for you personally, then you have your own private plan of how you're going to work with those energies, okay? So the pre-transit shadow period starts September 4th, okay? These shadow periods are very important to note, especially when we have planets that take longer. I mean, really, for any planet, the shadow period is relevant, but the longer the planet takes to do its, full orbit, the longer that pre and post shadow transit are going to be. So in these shadow periods, you start seeing a building of the types of retrograde things that we see, and the energies get stronger and stronger from the beginning of the shadow period, which is September 4th, through October 30th, which is when the actual retrograde is. But if you try to play the game, should I hurry up and do my launch or my big important thing, October 17th, because it's not quite retrograde, you're playing a dangerous game, because, you're in the shadow period, and the more you tune in, the more you'll see how these energies are present even before the actual retrograde occurs. So we're talking about September 4th through October 30th, a building of the retrograde energies, October 30th through January 18th, 2023 for the actual retrograde, and then a starting to lighten with every day we get past January 18th and move towards March 15th of 2023. Those energies are lightening every day. So, if you have to do something and it's not quite March 15th, at least the energies are much stronger and better than, let's say, if you tried to do something, with a Mars direct type of energy, right after the retrograde ended. So we're talking about Mars going retrograde from 25 degrees of Gemini back to 8 degrees of Gemini. Okay, so now let's talk about, just focus on, well, I guess we'll just leave it there. That's fine. Okay, so through September 3rd, so that means all of August, okay, which is the month right before the energies really start to brew for retrograde, we're really focusing on this new forward movement, tide going out, anything that you want to go longer term, any major launch that you want to have a good, nice birth date. Remember, anytime you do something major, it's a birth date for that activity, and it will carry all the energies of that time. Anything that requires all the things that Mars rules, oomph, get up and go, initiation, energy levels, ambition, initiative, follow through, any of these things. If you have a project that's going to require that type of energy, yours or other people, like you need other people to show up or to collaborate with on a project, you're not the only one that's going to be feeling the retrograde energies. They also will be. So if you're trying to initiate a project that needs other people to show up with their energy and ambition and follow through, then August, up until August, or really, June 19th through all of August is like this really nice open period for all of the personal planet retrogrades. But as far as Mars is going here, anything up until through the end of August and the first couple of days of September, you're going to have a lot more energy for these types of things. Now, the aspect of Mars ruling metal also comes into play. So if you have to purchase anything made of metal, cars, devices, machinery of any kind, major lawn mowing equipment, the direct time is a great time to get the best, focus on anything with metal. And this also has to do with surgeries. Now, please hear me. Just because I'm saying try to, know that there's more energy from the perspective of Mars transits supporting surgeries, whether they're voluntary or necessary, when you've got the direct time. If you're in the retrograde and you have to have a life-saving surgery, don't worry about it. You need that and you have to do it, so don't hesitate to do something that the doctor says will be curative or that you need to prevent a bigger problem. But just to kind of have a guideline. If you know you're going to need a surgery, you'll have better support for that from the Mars perspective, through August, basically. And the same thing with haircuts, scissors, right? So if you need a new stylist or a new style, you'll have extra oomph for that through August and the first couple of days of September, tattoos, things like that, anything with the metal. If you have to put some legal, instigate legal proceedings against someone, even if you feel like you were wronged, that still is, from the astrological standpoint, an act of aggression, which is ruled by Mars. And there's more oomph and support when Mars is direct if you have to initiate legal proceedings. Now, if you're just responding to something and it's out of your hands, you got to do whatever you got to do. But if you're the one initiating something, Mars direct has much more support there. Okay, so now when we go into Mars retrograde, and obviously I'll be talking about this more as we're actually in that time, but I just want to kind of give you a heads up so you're understanding the flow and you can kind of position your projects and your planning accordingly. So Mars retrogrades basically from September 4th through March 15th, September 4th, 2022 to March 15th, 2023, and especially strong October 30th through January 18th. We're talking about going back to old things or just work as usual, anything that you've been having to do, although you might be a little more lazy and you might be less ambitious, things as usual, editing, light, low stakes projects, even if you want to do something new, but you're not attached to the outcome. And, the biggest thing here is to not take on anything that requires a titanic commitment and follow through, because the odds are that you're going to get lazy or busy or unambitious. And so committing or over promising is a very big, warning here. But anything where you're just kind of working the backdrop, anything with reflections and self-development and therapy, individual, couple, family, is amazing. And along those lines, dealing with anger and resentment. A lot of times when people are chronically angry and resentful, even if you've done inner work, there could be something going on with your gallbladder and your liver. Now, obviously, I'm not a doctor. I'm not trying to diagnose anything. I'm just saying from the energetic standpoint, from doing thousands of live individual readings and doing horoscopes for a very long time and working with astrology medically for 20 years, I have seen when your liver and gallbladder are overburdened, a lot of times the way you are noticing that as a symptom is actually chronic anger and resentment. So if you've done inner work and you can't think of why you should be angry or resentful anymore, it's possible your gallbladder and liver need some work. And that those things may or may not show up on standard medical tests, okay? So you can do things to love your liver. Also, neurological things, Mars does additionally rule Aries, and also Mars is a co-ruler for Scorpio, so the sexual organs would be in here as well, or reproductive organs. All of those might have some things that are under the surface that need to be dealt with, either energetically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, or physically. This energy of stepping out of a victim mentality is very important, because a lot of times people feel resentful because they feel like something is happening to them. So just kind of exploring this topic. The same thing with reckless behaviors. I don't know that reckless behaviors are really a great idea anytime overall, either through your voice, like saying something to someone, or your deeds. But it's especially, you have to be especially careful with your head and your physical body. Oops, sorry about that. And your physical body, in Mars retrograde, and old injuries might, or issues might come up to be dealt with. It's a fantastic time for rest and staycations and vacations, enjoying the fruits of past labor, clearing up unfinished business on any level, whether it's in your yard or whether it's in your relationship. All of these things are great for the retrograde. And I have even more resources. If you find my book, Planetology, How to Align with the Natural Rhythms of the Universe, it's actually in all major booksellers on the shelves, or you can get it online or at independent bookstores. I have my no-go checklist of, how to make decisions in Mars retrograde and the questions to ask yourself, and plus a more detailed list of the direct versus retrograde energies. But I just wanted to give you a summary so that you can understand what kinds of things are good to do in August and before for your planning purposes, and what kind of things are good to table or sort of put in your planner for, the last months of the year, September through December, and a little bit into 2023. You can also search for Annie Botticelli Mars retrograde to find a video that I've made on the topic, another video, and also I have a blog on the topic of Mars retrograde, and I also have a blog on general retrograde advice. Okay, so if you're wanting to prepare or get more information, then you can use those resources as well. And of course, continue watching my monthly horoscopes, as I will guide you through the rest of this direct process, and then all of the time we're in retrograde. Okay, so I've given you lots to work with to help you make the most of the energies this month, and to help you understand the energetic patterns at work and play. And if you'd like more resources, I've got all of these here. You can additionally go to the little more button, the little arrow underneath the bottom right of the video. Click on that, and all of the links that I'm giving you here will be clickable, right? So if you're looking for reading options, including a beautiful, very detailed 45-minute audio of your birth chart for $33 from my brilliant husband, you can find that at anniebclarity.com. You can go to anniehelpsyou.com, sign up for my free email newsletter. This is where you can access running a free birth chart. This is where you access my 28-day in-depth virtual coaching program called Shine for free. This is also where you'll find tons of blogs, and you get lots of other perks for being on my newsletter list. If you're looking for written horoscopes by me, always up a month early, you can go to cozybysweetstarlight.com. If you haven't seen this site, go to it. It is so beautiful. We've got, me and my team have lots of amazing astrology-inspired blogs and healthy living blogs. We've got hypnosis for all the signs. We've got healing frequencies for all the signs. I've got the written horoscopes that I write. We have yoga for all the signs. So it's just a very beautiful, comprehensive site. If you're looking for free courses on how to manifest money and wellness, you can go to lumlife.com, my school, Luminous Life Multiversity, LUMLIFE. You can also find my astrology education courses here, including my behemoth of a master course called Becoming a Professional Astrologer Mastery Course, which you can fully utilize even if you don't want to be a professional astrologer, but it certainly will get you up to the level where you could be and show you how to make your business a success. And payment plans are available there too. Now, I've also got 2 books out and more on the way. Planetology, How to Align with the Natural Rhythms of the Universe. You will find this on the bookshelves in all major booksellers, including all the Books A Million, all the Barnes & Nobles. It's right there on the shelf. Plus, you can get it on Amazon and through any independent bookseller. And you can find Radical Prayer on Amazon, and you can order it anywhere as well. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.